As an aspiring 3D artist who just added Substance Painter into my workflow, I'm returning back to the 3D models I made of some of Terraria's coolest guns and giving them a much needed improvement, or I guess glow up, you could say, in the materials and render department. I mean, just look how far we've come from the materials and renders we did back in that original video, which, if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out, compared to what I'm able to create now. It's just so cool seeing the improvements in my work, and I hope you guys think so too. Anyways, this video is going to be a bit different maybe than those of you who frequent my channel. Instead of running through in detail the modeling and the texturing and then showing some cool final renders, we're actually really going to dedicate most of the time for each weapon to just some awesome animated cool action renders, because let's be honest, that's the part that you guys love the most. So we're gonna show some really sick time-lapse edit things of the Substance Painter workflow before just really sinking our teeth into those long, extended final render showcases for each weapon. So not just panning around the weapon either, but like some real moving parts and like action-based renders, seeing how the gun would operate and all that cool stuff, which is something new we've been trying on the channel recently, which these models did not get in the original Terraria video. So very cool to see a lot of that, and that's where we're going to be dedicating a lot of the time for each weapon in this video. Oh, and by the way, not only are these gun models now available on my Patreon at patreon.com/narcdesign, thank you, by the way, to my first few supporters. Gonna give you guys a true shout out at the end of this video, but now their updated textures you get to see here in this video are also available on that Patreon as well. So definitely go check that out if you want to support the channel and get your grubby little hands on my bodacious models and textures. Feels great to be back in Terraria, folks, so without further ado, let's aggressively grab our quad-barreled shotgun and shove it right down the throat of Substance Painter and friggin' get cooking, or I guess actually get baking. Let's run it!
I can give you anything you want to get that cake. To get that cake. You would say anything to get that cake. I got that. I got that. I got that. You would say anything to get that cake. Like what? To get that cake. To get that cake. To get that cake. You would say anything to get that cake. Like what?
Man, oh man, once you see the back-to-back comparison, that before and after of the texture work from the first video compared to now, it really is just a light and day difference. There was some really cool techniques I learned and discovered in real-time texturing this model specifically. I added like a cartoon comic book filter over the entire thing and then was heavily tweaking it, and it gave the overall model like such a nice just coat or layer of added detail and cohesion, and the wood and the grip too. It just looks so much more rich and polished and I guess less almost plasticky or toy-like that the original model kind of looked like there in the handle. And honestly, yeah, I couldn't be any more happier. I really do think it's a huge improvement, and this final result is just so satisfying. It's funny because when I was retexturing these models and making this video, I was genuinely worried that the improvement would be really subtle between the original video's final result and now these updated results. But I was fortunately shown this is just not the case. There's really not too much to say about the quad-barreled shotgun, really. I mean, it is the most basic out of the three models we are showcasing here, so we're gonna move on a bit more quickly than we would maybe for the other two that are coming just up, just because those models are more fantasy and sci-fi based and have some really cool emission and just magical details and effects that you probably wouldn't see on a weapon that's a bit more based on real firearms, like, you know, a shotgun. So why don't we stop yapping and roll the friggin' boppin' time lapse for the Vortex Beater already? Like, what are we doing? Let's go! Right now, let's go! Ooh, yes, yes, yes. What an awe-inspiring final result, and just drastically, undoubtedly, a massive improvement over the original. I won't lie, I did struggle a bit on that kind of back tube part of the model because I was trying to add a sort of mesh textured tube thing effect over the emission there, and I kept running into an issue where the emission would just bleed through the texture regardless of how I applied it. Eventually I got something that I was satisfied with, and that basically meant masking the emission layer using a sort of cross-hashed mesh that's a black and white texture that I could then plug into the mask. I wanted to make it bump out a bit more rather than looking flat against the emission on the tube, but for now I still think it's a massive improvement over the original. And that's not even mentioning the rest of the model, such as the actual like glowing energy parts, which you guys very accurately criticized for appearing purple and cyan, when the original sprite really only shows like a blue and teal sort of color. So I now properly applied that material, I think, more accurately this time around, and has more detail, and I think it's just a huge improvement. I also tried really hard to add more edge-based wear details around some of the curvature of the model, which may be subtle, but are quite important when comparing the old version to the new renders, and I really love how some of the metal pitting I added as well came out very, very crisp. The look I was going for there was trying to imagine the weapon like crashing down from space through the atmosphere like a meteor or something, and damaging that strong alien metal alloy it's made out of just enough to remove its like too perfect look. Really, at this point, there's not too much else to say except that it's obvious to me now just how important those smaller details are, like wear and grime and edge masking and such, to get the best result and feel possible. Layering multiple effects and masks and materials within Substance Painter gives you an infinite playing field of possibilities, and I think the Vortex Beater and the glamour makeover we have given it here proves that beyond a doubt. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and as you type that comment below, which I do read by the way, I think it's time we grab my favorite model of the three, the Venus Magnum, strip it of its gross old amateur materials, hand it over to the custody of Substance Painter, and roll the friggin' time lapse. Let's go! This model was the one I was the most proud of in the original video. However, it is also the one I got the most amount of critique on from you guys in the comments relating to its final textures. And I heard you guys loud and clear. Yes, the hammered metal made it look more messy than anything. The UV maps were not scaled right to each other, so each part of the weapon kind of looked stretched and messy in some areas, while others looked crisp and detailed. It was just weird. And overall, it just lacked a ton of depth. Comparing that to how I approached this model, and it's a 10 out of 10 improvement. The obvious standout aspect here is the glowing moss-like details I worked pretty hard at to get right, and I love that that detail is found all around the little nooks and crannies of the Venus Magnum. It's really, really cool. It really does feel like it's an ancient artifact that's been lost in an underground fantasy jungle for like centuries, and its raw green energy, jungle power, magic stuff is just coursing through the weapon, through the moss like veins or something. Even the handle itself sees a major texture improvement here, and I'm way more satisfied with how I handled the mission this time around in Substance Painter compared to what I got from the original video's final result. Not to mention, of course, the scratches and edge details we get from the power of using a tool like Substance Painter. It really just brings the fidelity and quality of the final result way above that first attempt. And you can see that across all three models. It just feels way more real, I guess, more physically based in reality, less toy-like or plastic feeling, I guess. Not to mention the metal materials being way more tuned properly to play with the lighting and other things in the scene. It's just, yeah, it's really satisfying, really crisp. I really like it. And since we were not doing like full animated kind of action-based moving parts renders with my models at the time that I did release that first Terraria video, it really does feel like we're finally giving these really sweet models that I poured a lot of time and energy into the proper respect and grace and presentation that they do truly deserve. And again, as I briefly mentioned at the start of the video, if you want these models and their new beautiful updated textures, well, you can by supporting the channel and heading over to Patreon and becoming a curator of the channel. You get access to the files for the models I create here in my videos, with models from Terraria, Enter the Gungeon, Ratchet & Clank, and even my cursed Tommy Deagle thing I made in last week's video, already available on that Patreon for curators. Just ask our current curators, Orange the Saber Guy and Superior Onion. They realized how sweet this was and jumped right on. So thank you again to Orange the Saber Guy and Superior Onion for supporting the channel. I massively appreciate it, and I hope you guys are enjoying your models. There's more coming soon. So head on over to patreon.com/narcdesign or click the link in the description to take a look, support the channel today, and get access to some really, really cool models. So we're gonna wrap up this video. I know it's a bit different maybe to how I structured my videos in the past, but I'm sort of in my experimental stage for my channel, trying to try some new things and approach videos a bit differently to see what really works both for you guys, my wonderful audience, and for me. So, like I've hinted at multiple times now in the video, I do read all the comments and absolutely love and take into genuine consideration all of the constructive criticism you guys send my way. So, let me know if this video vibed with you, or if it didn't, tell me why in the comments below. And I'm sure there will be good suggestions down there to keep helping me make these videos even better each week. Alright, that's it for me. We've got a super cool video coming out next week because yes, we do new videos every Sunday. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Like the video and comment below as well to help the channel out. And once again, big huge thanks to my curators. Huge support for the channel. I really appreciate it. Alright everyone, I'll see you next week. Bye!